Hey everyone, it's me, Vinny Lospinuso. I am back with another video. Now, before I start off, I want to say I'm very excited for Week 18 of the NFL season. I am picking the Chiefs and Cowboys to win their final games of the regular season just in time for playoffs. Also, I want to give a big shout out to Amazon for dropping this shirt of all three Spider-Man, Toby, Andrew, and Tom, all in one shirt. Get it on Amazon if you can. This shirt absolutely rocks. Now, the reason why I'm wearing this shirt also in particular is because today on Twitter is the day that we, as the Spider-Man community, are trying to make TASM 3 trending. We want to try and make the hashtag MakeTASM3 trending, and we want to try to get that to Sony Pictures, Marvel Entertainment, and everyone else that has any ties to make The Amazing Spider-Man 3, so that way we could see Andrew Garfield continue his time as the wall crawler. Now, why am I also saying this to you today? For another reason. Well, it's because Andrew Garfield recently sat down with Variety and said that he is open to be returning as Spider-Man in a future movie or two. That is, if Sony wants to have him in a crossover movie with Venom, or if they want to see an Amazing Spider-Man 3 or beyond, if they want to see him continue his series. There's so many opportunities that could be done if they decide to bring Andrew Garfield back for another go. Now, what do I think should happen? Well, honestly, I think the writing's on the wall. As much as I'm very excited to see what Tom Holland's going to be doing in the next few movies that he's going to be doing as Spider-Man in the MCU, I want to see what happens for the other Spider-Man. I want to see what happens for Sony's Venomverse. I don't know if, the Venomverse films are in the Amazing Spider-Man universe. I'm kind of 50-50 on it. I'm leaning towards more no, because the Daily Bugle and Ravencroft are very different between the Amazing Spider-Man films and the Venomverse films. So it could work in like a multiverse sort of movie. I'm down with that. But I still think they should be their own separate things. Now, what would I do if I was Sony and I had a plan for what I wanted to do with the character of Spider-Man after No Way Home? We see that the box office return's been really, really nice. We see that as a result, they're pushing back Morbius yet again to April 1st, so that way it doesn't run in to Spider-Man, which is a little funny considering how the movie was first shown to us 2 years ago in January, and it was supposed to come out on July 10th. But because of reshoots and, of course, COVID, it got pushed back many times until ultimately it's now going to get released a mere 21 months later after it was supposed to get released. I guess better late than never is what they say. Either way, Jared Leto is essentially a vampire at this point, considering the man never ages as a result. Now, what do I think I see them doing? Well, I think for first off, when it comes to Toby, I could see at least one more movie with him where it's the Mayday variant where he has his own daughter that he can raise, and we'll see how they handle that. For Andrew, though, I can see his entire series get revived. I can see an Amazing Spider-Man 3 where they continue either where they left off after the Amazing Spider-Man 2, and or I could see what happens to the character right after, No Way Home, where he goes back to his own universe. Another thing I could also see happening is that potentially they could retroactively make it in part of the same universe as Venom and Morbius, but I'm not really sure that's going to happen, considering how in the Venomverse, in Venom 2, they even mentioned that there is no Spider-Man there. So if it's already part of it, that wouldn't make any sense, considering how if Eddie is from New York and assuming that's where Spider-Man is, he would already know who he is, but he probably doesn't in this case. So my guess is that they would probably have a character like Morbius reach out to Tom Holland if that were to happen. I'm not sure who else, though. As for what I think is going to happen for Andrew Garfield, I can see them really just finishing what they were trying to do, or just continue what they were trying to do back in 2014. Bring back Felicity Jones as Black Cat, bring back in Shailene Woodley when they do Mary Jane Watson, and just continue with the story what they want to do since then. Because as much as I love the multiverse idea of all these other great other characters from other universes crossing over, at the same time, I also love a nice traditional single character story where you see a character within his own universe and he interacts with the characters and has any relationships within any characters within that same shared universe. Now, could this potentially be done as a multiversal movie? I'm not sure. I'm kind of 50-50 on it, but I would say after one movie, in like as Task 3, I also want to see what happened to this character after his time as the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because in case anyone doesn't know, they were hyping up so much in that. They were hyping up the Spider Slayers. They were hyping up what would happen to Peter's parents. They were also hyping up for Black Cat, Mary Jane Watson, the Sinister Six, the Ravencroft, all so much stuff. Again, when I said in the last video back on Christmas, I said that had so much potential that it was hyping up for, but then essentially Sony just didn't do a good job with it. They finagled with the script a little too much, and essentially those dreams were kaput, and the series was effectively rebooted by putting Tom Holland as Spider-Man, a new version of Spider-Man in the MCU. But this is a very, very rare opportunity. We see so many instances, like for instance, Universal's failed Dark Universe. They were trying to reboot all these great Universal monsters like the Mummy and whatnot. And they were trying to make it in this whole universe where it's all shared. But they cared too much about the shared universe as opposed to just telling a really good movie. And that combined with a poor script, poor box office numbers, and everything else, they canned it after just one movie. And that was very disappointing because that was a lot of potential, but it was squandered. This is a rare instance in which those dreams of a potentially defunct, allegedly defunct universe could potentially truly be revived. And if Sony is going to do this, they got to make sure they listen to Andrew Garfield because he is the star of this universe. He is the star of this take of Spider-Man. If you're going to do it in which there's multiple Spider-Men going on at once, you have Tom Holland, you have Tobey Maguire, and you have Andrew Garfield playing Peter Parker or Spider-Man, you got to make him a little bit different than the other ones. You got to have it where this is a bit more of a darker tone. I know Tom Holland is probably going to go in that direction. I still think this is going to be a bit of a darker tone, have it a bit more grounded, have a bit more serious, the villains. Show much more of a Spider-Man sort of story. As opposed to a Marvel story, make it a more Spider-Man series-focused story. And if you were to do Tobey Maguire, focus just on the character itself. But instead, with Andrew Garfield, make it more sort of multi-dimensional and make it more of a Spider-Man centered story. That's how I think it should be done. That way you can differentiate all three of the Spider-Man and make them still going on. As people love the character, it is the most popular comic book character in the world. I think people are understanding the fact that with each of the live action Spider-Man, there are different variations of the character. And I think a lot of people would be very open to that. And that doesn't have to just be Peter Parker. You could potentially do Miles Morales down the road. You can potentially do another universe where you open up the possibility of Miguel O'Hara. You have other possibilities of even, the Spider-Woman. They even mentioned that they want to do a Spider-Gwen movie with a multiversal one. And you have Andrew Garfield potentially in that one. There are literally so many opportunities that you could be doing with this. And I think Sony realized it. And I think the fans also realized that we could see so many opportunities opened up. And that's just the live action variations. What about the animated versions too? I mean, Spider-Verse 2 is going to be coming out later this year. You can get Spider-Verse 3 the following year. Probably going to be seeing stuff like the 90s Spider-Man make a return, maybe Spectacular Spider-Man, maybe more of the 60s Spider-Man. Again, there is literally so much potential you could really have in this for both live action and animated versions, and they could easily be their own separate continuities. And that's fine by me because I love the character. I love the series. I want to see what they do next. And I don't want to see them truly leave off because, it didn't really feel like Toby nor Andrew really got closure. It felt like they were about to have another movie, or in the case of Andrew, multiple films going on. And, both with poor management and other issues going on, they were canceled. They never got to see it. And it felt like, Toby's career got a bit of a decline afterwards. And Andrew, even though his career really went up, and now he might even win Best Actor at the Oscars for his role in Tick, Tick, Boom. I would love to see that for him. It feels like even with all those big roles, everyone's going to know them as Spider-Man. because that's just how big this character is. Look at Robert Downey Jr. He's taking on so many roles, but yet the one that truly is going to shape him until the end of time is his time as Iron Man. Chris Evans, he's going to always be known as Captain America. The Mark Ruffalo, he's always going to be known as the Hulk. Chris Hemsworth's going to always be known as Thor. Jeremy Renner is always going to be known as, Hawkeye. Even for Benedict Cumberbatch, someone who's been in as many roles as him, he's probably always going to be known by many people as Doctor Strange. Okay, maybe not with him, but I could still see that. There are literally so many opportunities you could pull for this, and no matter what they do, they're always going to be known as their comic book characters because that's just how powerful the medium of the comic book adaptation is when it comes to the role of cinema. And I think having multiple different versions, multiple different interpretations of this character of Spider-Man is very healthy. And it shows that you don't have to just do one version of a character and it would still pop. I mean, look at what DC's even doing. They're having, the Ben Affleck version of Batman and the Michael Keaton version of Batman and a completely new series of Batman being played by Robert Pattinson. Everyone's okay with that. They need to be separate universes. They're easily different takes, and I'd be down for this. I think it would be an incredible and just awesome way of seeing all these characters interact. And I think the audience is smart enough to know that these are different universes. These are, in effect, even though they have the same names, even though they have the same powers, they are different characters in the way they emulate the people who they speak to. I think in total, it would just be a very awesome experience for everyone involved. So again, I'm telling Sony, Marvel, whoever's involved, please make The Amazing Spider-Man 3 because Andrew Garfield at least needs one more solo film. And honestly, in my personal opinion, I believe Andrew needs more than just one more solo film. I think he needs a fourth film. Hell, I could even argue he needs a fifth film because, like I said in the last video, it almost felt like his story was truly getting started following the end of The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with how much was being hyped up for and ultimately never showed up. So yeah, and for Toby, I want to see him have a fourth film also. That also trended a bit the other day. It didn't do as well as The Amazing Spider-Man 3, but, Toby is the OG Peter Parker. He is the OG Spider-Man. I would love to see him have at least one more go at it because the man really deserves it. So that's my thoughts, guys. I want to know what you think. Would you like to see Andrew Garfield return as Spider-Man in The Amazing Spider-Man 3? Would you like to see an Amazing Spider-Man 3? What would you like to see in an Amazing Spider-Man 3? How do you think it would work? Do you think this series is going to get revived? Do you think it's not? I want to know, what are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments down below. I would actually love to hear them. Anyway, guys, also congrats to everyone who has made Zenny62 now have 48,000 subscribers. We're only just keep going, keep those numbers going up. Please subscribe to more from Zenny62 if you have not already. Hit the notification bell on for more if you want to be notified for new videos as soon as they come out. And as always, take care and have a great rest of your weekend. Make sure you watch Week 18 of the NFL. And as always, I'll see you guys later. Peace out, everyone.